All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That carries. On to new business. The replat of Outlet A of Paynesville Railroad Bed. I guess I would turn this over to probably Mr. Overfly, or I don't know who wants to bring us up to speed on this.
Go ahead. You're more up to speed than I am.
I could talk a little bit about it if you want.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, that was at the planning.
I think Jennifer received an application. First we received the concept plan, and now I believe she's received also an application for, to schedule a hearing on approval of the preliminary plat. The concept here is, I guess if you look on page 12, I think is, it's a strip that runs up the middle of our industrial park lots out there. And that's the old railroad spur used to run through there. It's not been there for many years. It's just been there, and was owned by parties who originally made this plat, still had the fee title to that. It's my understanding that Lewis Industries is acquiring, perhaps has acquired that strip of land, intends to subdivide it so that the adjoining parcels will be deeded. The part of that lot that abuts theirs, they'll be attached for all purposes in the future. That's the plan, I think. I think that's an accurate summary of what they're intending to do there.
Yeah, and there are other businesses affected by it, and they all are gonna share in whatever the portion is.
And the hearing was set at the planning commission meeting for March 15th.
For the replat?
For the for a
To approve the preliminary plat.
preliminary plat, right.
So they'll have, the planning will hold a public hearing on March 15th on the application to approve the,
Preliminary plat.
a final plat will be forthcoming. I don't know when, but I assume within a month or so after the preliminary.
But we're good to go here on the concept plan, even though that's scheduled for a public hearing?
There's no public hearing for the concept plan. The concept plan is just, as it states, a concept. So this is the time where the city does not have any desire for this to happen, would be to step in now and say they're not expending money that's unnecessary in either application fees or surveying, things like that.
Any other comments or discussion? Otherwise, is there a motion on this item?
I'll make the motion to approve the concept plan of the replat of Outlot A, Paynesville.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion by Councilmember Soini, seconded by Councilmember Thielen to approve the concept plan of the replat of Outlot A, Paynesville. Any further discussion on that? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That carries. All right. The Magus Valley Farm Lease.
Okay, thank you. We did take bids on this is the airport property. We do have 95 acres out there. We did receive 3 bids in from local farmers, and obviously the high bid is from Magus Valley at $127.50. It was very competitive, as the next bid was $126. It is 95 acres, and it is for a 3-year period. Any questions on that? Otherwise,
Okay. Is there any questions for Ron? Otherwise, we could entertain a motion on that.
I'll make the motion to approve the farm lease cash rent agreement between the city of Paynesville and Magus-Welly LLC.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Hertzberg, seconded by Brick, to approve the farm lease cash rent agreement between the city of Paynesville and Magus-Welly LLC. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That carries. All right. right, on to the gazebo park improvements.
Okay, thank you. During the completion of the park comp plan last fall, members had recommended to replace the cedar shakes on the gazebo. I don't think that's ever been done. The gazebo's got to be at least 40-some odd years old. We did get some prices here, and the low being from J.P. Evans. I do need to update these prices. The prices I did get were from last fall. I didn't get back to the park board until now, and they did recommend it, but the price increase is about $400, and it is just on materials. So the end price would be $7,146.21, and both contractors utilize the same lumber yards, so there would be the same increase on both ends. We did look at shingles, going back to cedar shakes and steel. Members at first were very sold on going with the steel as it's going to last longer, but then after discussing how long will the gazebo actually be there, it's been questioned over the years, the usefulness of the gazebo, and at some point in the future, we may want to replace it with something else. So at that point, they recommended going with these shingles. Along with that is we were going to put a fascia and soffit on the restrooms. So that is the other portion of this. And that is included in that price.
And that updated price was $7,146.21?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question for you, Ron.
Yes.
You think the shingles are gonna outlast the gazebo as such?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I was wondering if it's gonna have to be redone somewhere down the road if you wanna go with something.
I mean, shingles, they should last there 30 years, so.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions for Ron? All right, do we have a motion on this?
Motion to approve the quote from J.P. Evans Construction in the amount of $7,146.21 for shingles.
Okay. With a motion from Soini, is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Brick. To approve the quote from J.P. Evans Construction in the amount of $7,146.21 for shingles. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That carries. Okay, moving on to the summer concert in the park series.
Another item from the park board, we will again host or recommend sponsoring the Concert in the Park series out at Veterans Park. I guess we've, over the years, heard nothing but positive comments on that and would see absolutely no reason why not to continue support of it. And there will only be 3 dates out there, but it is from July 1st to July 22nd. So, and that is a recommendation from the park board.
Seems like this year especially, it seems like a good idea.
Yes.
All right.
I'll make the motion to allow Paynesville Community Education to use the Veterans Park shelter, kitchen, and outdoor seating at no cost. However, the city will be listed as a concert series sponsor for the Summer Concert Park Series to be held Thursday evenings from 4 to 9, July 1st till July 22nd, 2021.
All right, we have a motion from Soini. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Hertzberg. To allow Paynesville Community Ed to use the Veterans Park shelter, kitchen, and outdoor seating as listed on the action sheet. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed? That carries. All right, Ron again, the equipment purchase.
Okay, thank you again. This was discussed at the park board and at our working session. And the park board, their comments mainly were that we should try to reduce the amount that we are mowing. And I got the working session, the comment also came up that we try to look for a used unit. Well, we're actually trying to do both. We did go back and to the vendor and said, yes, we want to try and look for a used unit, and they did come back. This is a promotional unit. We sent a couple people down to look at it. As you can see, the cost on it of $77,000 is, it's a $38,000 savings there, and it only has 260 hours on, and it does come with a full 2-year warranty on it. So it'd be very hard to turn this unit down. It is a complete 4-wheel drive. It's a 72-horse motor on there with a 16-foot cut. An enclosed cab, and it's got the 3, and each deck is independently operated, so you can operate any one at any time. I totally agree with the park board and the council members looking at ways to reduce the amount that we are mowing. That is something I still fully intend to do, but at this time, I don't think we can pass this unit up. The salesman said if we don't take it, it will likely be gone by the end of the week. So they did put a hold on it for us, so I felt it was definitely worthwhile bringing forward to council. I did contact a couple members of the park board, and they tended to agree that, yes, let's move forward with it, but still look at trying to reduce what we're mowing. As you can see there, where the funds would come from, the sewer, the water, or your stormwater utility, and the park. So it's a unit that would be used entirely around the city. Also looking at trying to reduce what we're mowing. We're always going to have the airport, we're always going to have the wastewater facility, and that is our 2 biggest areas right there. So I guess it'd be my recommendation that we do proceed with it.
Is
I have a
this,
couple questions for you.
Sure.
I remember a while back, I cannot put the number of years on it, but at one point in time, there was livestock out at the irrigation ponds. I think there were sheep.
They were sheep, that is correct.
Okay. If you were looking at reducing what was mowed, is there any reason why this option might not have been looked into? I mean,
Going back to the sheep,
yeah,
liability of one, trying to keep them in,
okay.
that would be the main one.
I was just wondering on that. I've had a few others ask me about, at one time they remembered sheep or goats it was. I didn't know what it was.
There was both out there at one time.
Okay,
Even with them out there, you still do have to mow periodically.
sure.
Otherwise, it looks like
Yeah,
the weeds.
I understand. Another question that I have with this is that, with this new mower, being that it's going to be idle during the winter months, any way an attachment could be included with that of, say, a snow blower?
Yes, absolutely. Have you noticed, it does come with an enclosed cab?
Right,
So yes, the snow blower, I believe, I don't have it on here. We did look into it, but I believe it's about $8,000.
okay,
Yes, it is a possibility.
okay. And the last thing I have for you is, with the old mower, is it just that it wasn't doing the job, or what's the reason why?
Okay, the old mower is a pull-type Citrix mower.
Yep.
It is a 17-foot cut. It is extremely labor-intense.
Okay,
Trying to maintain it. There's about 3 sets of drives, so that means there's 6 sets of knuckles on there. They all have to be pulled off.
okay,
Yeah, when that comes in for maintenance, it takes 2 men, almost 6 hours.
okay. Thank you for clearing that up.
Yes, thank you.
I have just a couple comments. I'm in favor of the purchase of this. The biggest thing, well, I worked for the city in the summer for about 8 years. And mowing the banks of the lagoon is how we got by without the tractor tipping over is beyond me. And this unit with the wings was very, very stable. And so if you look at the loss of life or workman's comp, it's a pretty cheap decision. And then I kind of disagree with not mowing, because when you quit mowing, the willows start growing. And that's half the reason we mow. All that we do is to keep the willows down. We spent one summer, 3-4 weeks in one of the drainage ponds getting rid of willows, 3-4 inch in diameter. So if you can keep that cutting them down is why we mow a lot of what we do.
Ron, I guess one question I had is, do you anticipate this, it's a narrower cut, but overall, do you think it's gonna save any man-hours, or,
Oh, absolutely will, yes.
okay, is that just primarily through maintenance, or also in operation?
Both. It's, maintenance is gonna be probably less than half, and also, the cutting speed on this, far greatly exceeds what we have. Even though it's a foot less, yeah, this unit can cut grass, there is no. I'd say the other one, you know, it says this can cut up to 20 acres an hour. The other one, I bet you we wouldn't get 10 acres.
I think we went over it at the Park and Tree Board meeting, but barring some strange happening with this, or how long did you say that you anticipated this lasting the city?
I would think this would be a 20-year investment.
Okay, thank you.
Sean?
And lastly, there is some value in the old mower yet to somebody.
So and that was going to be my next question, there's talk of a trade-in on here, and is that included in the price?
No, at this time, I think our best option would be to declare the Citrix surplus property and advertise it as such.
Okay, all right, and then you had a question.
What's the willow?
Willow trees?
I mean, why are they a problem? Aren't they beautiful?
No.
I mean, I didn't know why. Are they
Well,
considered like a nuisance here?
When they're in the wrong location, then they become a problem. If they're inside of our ponds
It
or
just seems
something.
like a bank that he was saying was dangerous and that people could have slipped on cutting. The thing about trees is they root and it solidifies the ground. It just seemed like an ecological, natural thing. I was just curious.
In the right location, you're absolutely correct.
Okay, my bad.
I have one more question for you, Ron. Being that this, if you're looking at it lasting about 20 years, would there be a possibility of getting something more than a 2-year warranty? Because this is quite a, I'm thinking, well, $77,000.
Yes.
And if something after the 2 years breaks, it could be quite an expenditure. So I'm just wondering if, just for a little bit extra.
I can surely look into it, absolutely. It's a good point.
That's just a thought that maybe you can take a look into.
Any other comments or discussion regarding the mower? Otherwise, is there a motion on this?
I'll make the motion to approve purchase of the used Toro Groundmaster 5910 in the amount of $77,000, with funds to come from the following: 40% sewer CIP, $30,800 is that amount. 20% water CIP, $15,400. 20% stormwater utility, $15,400. And 20% park, $15,400.
We have a motion from Hertzberg,
I'll second it.
seconded by Soini, to approve the purchase of a used Toro mower in the amount of $77,000, with funds to come from 40% out of the sewer CIP and 20% each out of the water, storm utility, and park CIP. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? That carries. Okay, on to the agriculture renter homestead tax rate program.
Okay, this is a program we found about out this spring on our city-owned land out on the irrigation sites or the airport. Obviously, the taxes now for the city are non-homesteaded. If we go along with the SEER program, the taxes to the renter would become homesteaded. So there would be a reduction at approximately 50%. But looking at the program and the renters, they are asking for 1/2 of our savings, which on the irrigation site that we'd be looking at, the current taxes are around that $2,700, and homesteaded, they would be approximately $1,392, and so we would each split that at $696 each. There's also a stipulation in there that if the renter, if their total valuation goes over that $1.89 million, that is the threshold where they are no longer eligible. We will qualify 100% for the site on the irrigation, but then it would not be 100% on the airport, as the renters would go over that threshold. Once this is approved, we will get the information to the county, and they will make all the final determinations. And I believe we would also be writing a contract which would come back to the council for the final approval on this program. But the assessors, they didn't want to go forward unless they knew that the city was going to be a part of it.
And this would not be for this year, but it would start next year, correct?
This would be for 2021 taxes payable in 2022.
Yep.
The way I understood it, yes.
Yes. I think you got to get it in before fall so they can
Yes.
approve it. Yep.
Is this something we have to redo every year, or does it carry through with the property?
I think we would want to draft a contract that would match the existing contracts and renew it then. Obviously, the dollar amounts are going to change every year.
So they're 3-year leases, so we'd want it to run with the lease. And then I think Ron and I talked about the fact that historically we've been a little bit slow on the renewals, and we're going to need to start renewing them before it gets too late in the fall for the following year, so that we can know who the renter is each year and whether the program works for them or not. Theoretically, there could be landowners who have too much, who are over that cap, and it wouldn't work for them, but for people that it does work for, it's great. You know, if it does, it's good for both the city and for them.
All right,
If we can save some money on taxes, that's always good.
all right, let's do it. Yeah,
I would just warn the city that a lot of times when businesses or owners are seeking the homesteading act, they are in over their heads with private creditors. And it's important to do a full evaluation of all the properties within that district that's zoned for, because it protects them from not just tax liability, but there are some private credit matters that companies, I'm just saying, to be careful for the city, because it sounds like it's advantageous, but in some ways, I mean, it's better managed in a micro way rather than macro. Because the smaller it is, the more independent evaluation can occur between the homeowner and the city to know what liability there already exists. Because some of that information isn't public, it just depends on what kind of incorporation that business is.
right. All right, well, that's good information. Is there a motion to participate or not?
I'll make the motion to authorize participation in the agriculture renter homestead tax rate program for Magaswelli for the land rented at the airport with parcel number 70.38646.0540 and irrigation land parcel number 37.24875.0500.
Motion by Soini, is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Seconded by Councilmember Thielen. To authorize participation in the agriculture renter homestead tax rate program for the Magus Valley land with the parcel numbers on the action sheet. Any further discussion on these? All right, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That carries. All right, Ron, you can take a breath. Chief Wagner, you want to sell the car?
Thank you. I want to sell another car. Ron says I need to give him his space back, so. We do have another forfeiture that has gone through the complete process, and We've obtained the title for that, so like to dispose of this vehicle the same way we've done the last two, which is through min bid. It seemed to work out pretty well for us, so just looking for authorization to sell it and then accept that final bid and move on from that one.
And like you said, we did use, this was a new service to us, what, 4 months ago, I think we sold the other ones?
Yep,
You said that worked out well?
it did. I mean, we got, almost $4,000 between the two vehicles, and it really took a lot of the stuff off of us. I just got to send them down some stuff, and they handle it from there, so.
All right, any further discussion, or is there a motion on this?
I'll make the motion to approve the sale of 2003 Mazda Protege by a min bid online auction and accept the highest bid, with the funds being split according to state statute and placed in the department's forfeiture fund for future needs.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Slaney, seconded by Brick, to approve the sale of the 2003 Mazda Protege via min bid and accept the highest bid and split the funds according to statute. Any further discussion on that?
Paul, did you book this? What kind of value?
I didn't, but it's not going to have a lot. It's beat up.
Got some miles on all three? Yeah. It's kind of what we get, okay.
Unfortunately, we don't get the nice ones.
I know.
All right, any further discussion on that? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That carries. Okay, back to Ron with the water tower painting. Or
Okay,
whoever
thank
wants to
you.
do it.
The water tower, it was constructed in 1979, so it is 42 years old. It is a steel structure, and I think everybody knows when you mix water and steel, what happens. Obviously, it rusts. It has been, I think it's 16, 17 years since it was repainted. And at this time, this came from the Public Works Committee. Bolton and Mink did a study last summer, and with the recommendation that we would proceed this spring with bidding of this. The options were, we could just wash the interior or the exterior at a cost of estimated at $10,000. Pressure wash, spot repair, and do some overcoats to the exterior and spot repair the interior at an estimated cost of $150,000. Or we can do a complete blast and recoat it at $450,000, or if we would ever build a new tank, which was discussed at one point, build a new concrete tank. And the nice thing about concrete is they never have to be painted. So obviously, if we ever do rebuild, it would very likely be a concrete tank. But that cost would be $1.25 million. So that we're going to put on the back burner. And we feel very strongly, and the recommendation from our engineer is to go with the option number 2, pressure wash and spot repair at an estimated cost of $150,000. Chuck, you have anything to add?
No, I think, hopefully we're able to get another 10 years out of that tank, the coating system on that tank by doing another overcoat. What we would do is get quotes for this work since it's below the threshold. And we'd actually do what's called an X-cut tape test prior to the overcoat, just to make sure that the adhesion to the other paint would be suitable.
It's a question we can get into more later, but I assume there's money in the CIP budget for that? CIP?
Yes, the water CIP, I believe, is just over $1 million, right around there.
All right. So the request is to just send this out for bids for right now. Are there any comments or a motion on this?
I'll make a motion to solicit quotes for the water tower resurfacing in option 2.
We have a motion by Brick, seconded by Councilmember Hertzberg, to solicit the quotes for the water tower resurfacing, the option number 2 there on the action sheet. Any discussion on this? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That carries. All right, that's it for action this week. On to our informational. We have our garbage rates from West Central Sanitation, our meeting schedules for March and April, and then the written report that Chief Soini presented to us from the fire department. All right, with that then, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.